Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am here today with my fall book haul. The last time I shared a haul with you, it was in July, and so it's been 4 months of book buying, and I'm kind of proud of myself how few books I have compared to usual. I've really taken to heart which books I'm buying. I don't buy a slew of children's books anymore because that's what my library budget at school is for. And then I do a lot of research using the public library for children's books. So I check out a lot of those from the public library first before I purchase them for myself. And then adult fiction wise, I don't usually buy a book unless I check at the public library's website and see that they don't have it. Or if they have it, there's like already 20 holds on it. So you'll see an example of that in my pile. And then the only other reason I would buy a book usually is because it is one that I want to write in or highlight, like my teacher books or my nonfiction books that you'll see as well today. Throughout this video, you're going to hear me talking about going to Barnes & Noble a lot prior or after a chemo round. And it sounds like I'm in there a long time. I'm not. It's like 30 minutes stopping in, getting a book to treat myself, and just kind of one thing that helps me get through a really cruddy situation. So keep in mind too that this video spans 4 months of book buying, and within that 4 months, I went and did 6 chemo rounds. So a lot of time at Barnes & Noble if I had time for it on that specific day. So that is why you're going to hear me refer to that quite often throughout this particular video. So after this book haul, you won't hear me refer to that anymore because my last chemo is on November 13th. And so I will be done and moving on, hopefully, with life. I think the only part I will miss is my every 3-week trip to the bookstore. But who can blame me? The first one I have is A Sliver of Sun, which this one is actually a pretty exciting one. It's by Diana Dorsey Wingett. And I took a group of kids to Emporia to meet the state winners. And this was a book that she had for sale there. And so it is actually a signed copy. I don't know a whole lot about it, but from the gist of the back of it, it's kind of like this little girl is struggling with the fact that her mom is trying to find a new husband. And she's going to get married anyway, and it's about like her struggle of trying to figure out what family is within that relationship for her mother. The next one is The Booth Brothers. This is a children's nonfiction book that I picked up before a chemo round one day. I don't do really well with nonfiction, but I figured this is pretty short. It's a story that I've never heard about, John Wilkes Booth's brother and the relationship between them, and how their 2 lives kind of separated apart to get where they were in history. And so I think this is one that'll be a good one that once I'm done, I can just take it to school and put on the shelves there. But I just thought it was an interesting topic, and I do like the format of it. The next one is a set that I wasn't sure that I was going to get, but this is a set of Shel Silverstein books. And obviously, as you can see, I fell in love with them because of the size. They're like miniature books. They're much smaller than the usual ones. And I love the feeling of the pages. They're a different texture than the original pages as well. So these were just fun copies to have for your personal collection. All right, the next one is Fly Girl by Cheri L Smith. And this is one I've had on my wish list for a while on Amazon, but I just never picked up. And I came across it at Barnes & Noble during a chemo round. And it's basically about the women Air Force service pilots during World War II. And it's about a girl who passes to be a white girl when she's actually African American, but her skin is light enough. So it reminds me of my favorite genre, which is World War II, mixed with one of my favorite books, The Lions of Little Rock, about a little girl that passes to be a white girl and their friendship. And so I knew it was one I wanted to pick up, and I found it in real life instead of on Amazon, and I just couldn't leave without it, so I didn't. The next one, another chemo Barnes & Noble pick. This is called Shooter by Caroline Pignay. I think that might be how you say her last name. It is a YA novel, so that's one reason that I bought it for myself. It's about a lockdown at a school where 5 kids are taken by surprise, and they just end up in the same unlocked boys' bathroom together during this lockdown. They think it's a drill at first, but then come to find out that it's not. So it's a story of a school shooting. Then the last part on the back, so it's not giving away too much, states that suddenly the bathroom isn't safe anymore, especially when they learn one of them knows more about the shooter than they realized. So it's definitely going to be a touchy subject, but it looks like a really quick read. The last YA novel I am so excited to share about is The Librarian of Auschwitz. Now, this came up in an email before it was even released, and I knew I had to read it, so I placed a hold on it right away, and so there's a hold on it for the library, But then I saw this on the shelf and I could not leave without it. Look how beautiful the cover is. Like all the way around, it is just gorgeous. It is a little lengthier, but once again, some of my favorite topics. We have World War II and about a girl that takes care of a library within one of the death camps. It's about a girl in Auschwitz that keeps the love of books and magic of books alive during the Holocaust. And I think it's like only 6 books or something, like really small number of books that she's responsible for keeping track of and hiding. But just the idea of the librarian at Auschwitz is amazing because it is based on a true story. And I know I've been holding off reading this, which is killing me, but I know that once I start it, I will not be able to put it down and nothing else will happen and get done. So if you don't hear from me for a while, you know why. I am so excited about this book. All right, this next one was one that had like 20 holds on the library already when I placed my hold. So I knew I just had to pick it up for myself. Tess Garrison, I Know a Secret. This is a Rizzoli and Isles novel, and it is one of my favorite series. The Surgeon is impeccable. It's the first one in the series. She finally released another story in the series. And I just finished reading it, I believe, last week. And it is a pretty good read. I did enjoy it. Some parts were a little hard because during the novel, it talks a lot about someone that is dying of cancer, which obviously hits home a little too hard with me. But I pushed through that and got through the rest of the story of the murder mystery and who is the killer and how all these people were linked, going back to a child abuse case that had happened many years prior. The kids in that case were starting to come up missing and dead as adults, and it's how they are all linked and who is the killer throughout the story. I hope I didn't reveal too much of it, but Rizzoli and Isles, you can't go wrong if you're looking for a good series. So now we're breaking into the nonfiction adult books. The first one that I picked up was Radical Remission, Surviving Cancer Against All Odds. Obviously, I picked it up for a reason, but I've heard great things about this book from other breast cancer survivors, and just it gives you a little piece of hope that you may have a little control in this in staying in remission. I've read the first chapter and highlighted the first chapter, which is all about diet, which is basically ketogenic. No dairy, no meat, no sugar, and the why behind it. I found out a lot of information about food in our country that I had no idea, and it was very shocking. There's a lot of other things like mental health and wellness and how to advocate for yourself in the other chapters in this book. So I'm on page 50, as you can kind of see because I left my highlighter in there for too long. But it's one that I'll be pushing my way through because a little knowledge wouldn't hurt in this area. The next one I picked up was Wild Things, The Joy of Reading Children's Literature as an Adult by Bruce Handy. I picked this up originally for like a Twitter chat type situation, but I didn't get it done in time, but I'm still enjoying reading through this very slowly. The thing I was most excited for was the super cute end pages, which is silly, but there's a good night moon reference, but it's been enjoyable. I've only made it through the first chapter, but it was a lot of fun to read about the backstory of Goodnight Moon and how the Runaway Bunny was written when the author was on a ski lift, and just some background information about some classic children's literature and the authors. That is just fun trivia knowledge, I guess. And so this is another one that I will be slowly pushing my way through, but I do want to finish it. Last one I have is Passionate Readers by Pernell Ripp. It's the art of reaching and engaging every child. If you are a teacher or someone who believes that reading should be a lifelong journey and the love of books is super important, you need to go find her on Twitter and her blog right away. She's in the realm of Donald Miller and Mr. Shu and those kind of huge gurus. They really make a point to emphasize the reading community, the love of books, how to create a passion for reading that's lifelong instead of just reading programs and old education practices. I'm really excited to dig into this because I know there's going to be a lot of highlighting, a lot of writing, and a lot of implementation of what Pernell has to say. It's all good stuff. I guarantee it. There you have it. That is all of the books that I bought in the last 4 months, which is pretty impressive for me, I'm not going to lie. A little self-control and kind of proud of it, but we all know that's not going to last for very long. So until the next time I do a book haul, Please leave your TBR list down below that you want me to check out, or any comments that you have. If you've read any of these books, I would love to hear from you. I will see you all later. Bye, guys.